Book One. It's all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest, former gym owner and diet guru, turns into circadian biology and starts planning his bowls. No other than Mr. Jason Yon.
Hello, Daniel.
Welcome to
Thank you
Book
for having me.
101. Yes, welcome to Book 101, Mr. Jason. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yes, for sure. So I started off my career basically as a fitness boot camp instructor back in 2007, and I thought in order to be healthy, all you needed was a good fitness program and a good nutrition program, and I later found out that that is just not the case. So I ran my boot camps, eventually opened up to three different studios, and eventually I leading the life that I was teaching my clients how to do around fitness and nutrition. I got personally sick, had some hormone issues, upside down cortisol, melatonin issues. Probably started around 2015, 2016, 2017, really there. Probably 2000, late 2017 to late 2018 is when I really started looking, trying to find answers. Because I mean, when you're in your late 30s and you're getting sick and you're the one that's supposed to be helping people get healthy as they're coming to you, that to me that was just unacceptable. So I had to find something, and eventually I was reintroduced to Dr. Jack Kruse and his methods around mitochondrial health, circadian biology, and whatnot. I say reintroduced because I originally found him in 2013, but I simply wasn't ready for his message because I still had the fitness programs and the nutrition programs and the supplements to sell people. So I always use the quote, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, or in my case, reappear. And once I refound him, I dig deep into everything that he had to offer. And eventually I did take the plunge. It did take me a while because I was so ingrained in the fitness and nutrition industry. But once I started, it was life changing, and I haven't looked back since, really.
Mr. Jason Yon, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And let's talk about focusing on circadian biology, environmental mismatches, and electromagnetic fields. You state when you eat is more important than what. Can you explain the core of biological mechanisms about circadian rhythms, hormone cascades that make timing so crucial and surpassing traditional nutrition focus?
Yes. So the timing function in us is basically how we are supposed to run. And as modern humans, we have basically gotten away from that because we can basically make we can turn it day at any time during the day, just by turning on artificial lights. So our most people know the eye is a camera, so we use it to see, but it's also a clock. And that is where our master circadian clock is. And it's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It sits right behind the retina. And this is why the eye is actually the most important organ, muscle, tissue, whatever you want to call it, for our health. So we're made up of genes. So they say there is approximately a peripheral clock in front of every single gene, and they say that we've got approximately between 19,000, 25,000 genes in our entire body. But the thing is that that master clock in our eye, it needs to run faster than all the other clocks because it's the one that is telling the other clocks to do certain things at certain times. So the sun rises at certain times and it sets at certain times, and there's certain things going on inside of us that are supposed to happen at certain times. One of those things is, and one of the most important things is our eating, because when you do eat, it is it's a stress response to the body. So cortisol is going to rise regardless of what you eat or when you eat. But if you eat at the wrong times, you're going to spike cortisol even more. And if you're doing that at nighttime, when cortisol is supposed to be super, super low and melatonin is supposed to be high, it's going to lower your melatonin. So you're not going to be able to get into the deeper stages of sleep, stage 3 and stage 4, which is basically the recovery sleep that we need. And when people don't get that, then you wake up super, super tired. They need caffeine, they need coffee, Red Bull, Monster, all this stuff to get them through the day. So I always say when the sun is up, the kitchen is open. When the sun is down, kitchen is closed. And the sicker someone is, the more they have to abide by that in order to reverse their disease. Because otherwise, if you're eating super late at night, and that was one of the things that I did that really got me my hormone issues. So my last class was pretty much at 7:30 p.m. It would go to 8:15 p.m. and then it would take me a half an hour to drive home. And then I was basically eating my last meal 9:15, 9:30, 9:45, somewhere in there. And my bedtime was typically 10:45. So just like basically an hour before bed, I was eating this huge giant meal. And for digestion, for our hormones, that's very, very bad, because our master hormone is known as leptin. So leptin is basically, it's the energy controller of all metabolism. So it needs to have 4 hours of no food, no digestion before you go to sleep in order to enter the hypothalamus. So it's typically between 12 and 2 a.m. that it enters the hypothalamus to basically get the energy status of the body. So our body wants to be basically a fat burning machine. And if there's digestion going on in there, then leptin is not going to be able to do what it needs to do, and that's burn fat and help us sleep through the night. Because when we sleep, that's actually when we burn the most body fat. But when you're eating late at night, if you're eating multiple meals throughout the day, so that was another thing that I always taught my clients, like you have to eat every 2 to 3 hours to basically stoke your metabolism. But that's basically bro science. I mean, there's nothing behind that. And it's basically say you're going on a road trip from like LA to New York, but your car, you've got a broken fuel gauge. You don't actually know when you need to refuel. So you have to guess, and you don't know how much you need to put in the gas tank. So you have to guess. And when you do that, it's basically destroying your hormones. It's destroying your energy levels. And yeah, so that's probably the biggest reason why we need to shut down eating as early as possible in order to have the best sleep possible, because sleep is everything. I mean, it's the most important thing that we do, and we should be everybody's day starts at midnight, and everybody should be asleep by that. So in order for leptin to work properly, and the hormones and all that and recovery and all that stuff, we should be asleep by at least 11 p.m. But a lot of people aren't doing that because they're making their nights bright and their days dark. So we're supposed to have bright days, dark nights, but we've kind of reversed that because we either hide from the sun or we block the sun with sunglasses, sunscreen, and whatnot, and then we turn on the artificial blue lights, which affects our melatonin levels, which affects it basically wakes us up because it has a color temperature of a typical lights, like overhead lights that you go into a grocery store, typical lamp lights, the technology light emitting from your phone, from your iPad, from your TV. it typically has a color temperature of like 5,500 to 6,500 Kelvin, which equates to approximately 12 to 1 p.m. So if you're watching TV or on your phone at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m., it's basically telling your brain, hey, it's 12 o'clock, it's 1 p.m. That's production time. That's not time to wind down. So it wires the brain, and that's why we've got coffee shops on basically every single corner, and we've got caffeine addicted people everywhere. And yeah, so does that answer your question?
Very well said, Mr. Jason. Beautifully articulated. And using the banana in April example, how does consuming food out of its natural season, climate context negatively impact our physiology beyond just nutrient content? And what's the signal does it disrupt?
Well, it's our mitochondria. So we learn about mitochondria in basically junior high, and we're told that it's the powerhouse of the cell, but that's pretty much where it stops. So, but the mitochondria is basically our environmental sensor. So it wants to it's like a femtosecond to a femtosecond sensor. So it can sense when things are off. It can sense when things are right, and it's when in the right environment. So your mitochondria also helps you burn fat when it is humming along at the right clip, and the circadian mechanism is intact. So when you do eat food out of season, so I would say you're supposed to eat as seasonally as possible and as locally as possible. So I live in Ohio, so we experience all 4 seasons. We get the heat in the summer, and we get the cold, the winter, the snow in the winter. And when you are eating, basically, I mean, in the winter here, things don't grow at all. So you don't get, you can go into a grocery store 24/7, 365 days a week. You can get bananas, you can get pineapples, blueberries, whatever you want at any time. But if you do eat that, because those foods are grown in heavy light cycles, so the UV is high. So when they are flown into grocery stores, it's usually grown in like Chile or Argentina or Colombia or Florida, just someplace that has light year round. And that food is grown in that light. So you are basically eating light. So electrons are basically like our energy currency, so to speak, along with protons. But protons come with a cost. So a thermodynamic cost, because protons have 1,852 times the mass of a proton. And when you eat something out of season, so carbohydrates will give the body more protons than they will electrons. And they're also loaded with something called deuterium, which is basically heavy water. So it's basically the atomic weight of it weighs more. And when you do eat out of season, you're adding that deuterium. And one of the best ways to deplete that deuterium is through sunlight, high UV. And when you're in a winter place where UV is low, so it typically doesn't get over 2 here in Ohio, then you don't have that sun to deplete it. And so it's basically going to add more protons, add more deuterium, and basically it's a great way to wreck your mitochondria, wreck your circadian mechanism, because now your mitochondria expects a certain light based on where you are on the globe. And then when you eat that light, the electrons basically emit the light inside of you. So now your mitochondria is just like confused, and when it gets confused, it causes cellular chaos. Cellular chaos is just a synonym for inflammation inside the body. So you've got this high UV light circulating in the body, and it's snowing outside, and that's not a good thing. Because all kinds of different things will start to happen, like domino effects will start to happen. You'll start to gain more body fat. You'll start to lose energy. The mitochondria will slow down because of the deuterium. Your fat burning cycles will start to slow down. So it's basically like, if you think of it, it's kind of like putting Aunt Jemima syrup in your car. So I mean, it's not going to go very far. But with the body, our bodies are very efficient. We still don't know everything that is happening on the body, but I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of reactions that are happening every single second in every single cell, and we've got trillions of cells. So when you unsync the clocks that I was talking about earlier, then things start running slowly and poorly. And so you can tell if you're getting a disease in like a certain area, then basically that's the area that the clock is not speaking with your master clock. So like for instance, if it's like if you're having liver issues, or you're having kidney issues or stomach issues, then those clocks are starting to get gunked up. The circadian mechanism is not intact on those, and so you need to get it back by following the circadian principles to basically reignite, re-jump those areas and those clocks.
Mr. Jason, as a circadian biology, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Say that again. I didn't hear that last part.
What are your short-term and long-term goals?
Oh, short and long-term goals. I want to get this message out there, because I mean, I was lied to. Not completely lied to. I mean, the fitness and nutrition industry, they tell you half truths, but the other half that they are missing is the big problem. Because I mean, in my opinion, light and non-native EMF are the reason for all of our, or are one of the major, one or two, or top two reasons for all the disease epidemics that we're facing. So getting this message out there, and I mean, when somebody first hears this message, it's like a shock. So I say eating a banana is bad for you, or I say sunglasses are killing you. That, to the normal person, sounds absolutely insane. But when you dig deep into it and you look into the actual information and you actually start doing it, and you start feeling better and looking better and moving better, then you become a true believer. And that's basically what I did. So my goal is to find the people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and basically help them unlearn what they currently know around health and wellness, and basically teach them the proper way, and then help them implement that. So that, I mean, that's my mission. That's my purpose now. So I mean, my goals were always to help people get healthy, but I was led down the wrong path in order to do that properly. But now I'm correcting course.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Jason, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be a circadian biology?
Say that again. There was an echo on the actual question.
Can you please give a piece of advice for those people out there want to be a circadian biology?
Well, probably the most important things in regards to changing your lifestyle is on the proper light side is seeing the sunrise with naked eyes. So no sunglasses, no contacts. If you do have eyeglasses, you pull them down on the bridge of your nose, or you take them completely off. To your viewers who are watching the video version of this, I mean, I'm wearing blue blocking glasses. So the sun is basically supposed to help your eyes, and the artificial light is what is destroying our eyes, basically. So blocking that artificial light, especially at night, is super important. So you can probably see my light above me is not like a normal light, so we call it a blue light. But green light also affects us, but we can do that another podcast talking about that. But so seeing the sunrise is basically the setter of the circadian rhythm. And there's a thing called melanopsin, which is basically our blue light antenna. That's the light that basically tells our master clock in our eye what time it is. So it's important to get out through the day to set that eye clock. But that's also why blue light at night, or blue light basically any time of the day, but at night is especially damaging to us. So that's probably my number one and number two. So see the sunrise with naked eyes and take care of your lighting environment, especially at night.
Thank you for your advice, Mr. Jason. And can you please recommend a book that influenced your journey?
Yes. So there's typically 3 books I recommend, but the one that really started me down the path is the Body Electric by Robert O. Becker. And he basically shows that we are electromagnetic beings, and the frequencies, the kind of light that we have, it basically interferes with our biology and obviously with our circadian rhythm and our mitochondria, and that affects basically everything that goes on inside of us. So he showed that inside of all living things, we basically create what's known as a DC electric current inside of us, and all around the world, the electricity that we plug into is AC current. So AC DC does not mend or meld well, like the band, but so it doesn't make sweet music like the AC/DC band, so to speak. So it kind of it's kind of like
different.
so yeah. So you have AC/DC that has the thunderstruck and all that stuff, the stuff that motivates you. When we combine the AC current inside of us, it's basically like a toddler playing on pots and pans. So you don't really get the sound that you want to hear. It's basically annoying, and you want it to stop as soon as possible.
Yes, indeed. And thank you for your recommendation, Mr. Jason. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, and book 101 review in 5th season too, comedy 101 in 2nd season, and my food 101 in its 5th season as well, geography 101 in its 4th season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in a 3rd season, and my movie 101 review and music 101 in its 4th season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its 1st season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Jason, if someone listening feels overwhelmed, what is the one most impactful change you recommend they implement immediately to start aligning with these principles?
Again, it would be the sunrise, and sunrise with naked eyes, and the taking care of your light environment at night. Yeah, so those are number one. Number two, the other thing I could throw in is grounding or earthing. So basically going barefoot in grass, water, sand, things that, because like I said, our energy currency is electrons. And when we are disconnected from Earth, then we start to lose electrons, and then our balance of electrons to protons gets off, and then inflammation occurs, and then we can pretty much be introduced to all diseases from there. So putting the electrons back is the number one thing to start to reverse the process of inflammation, reverse any disease, really.
Mr. Jason Yan, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, your podcast, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Okay, sure. I have my own podcast called Improvement Warrior Podcast, where we go over these kind of principles and whatnot. Probably the best place to start is my mitochondriac guide, where I have it's a free guide that goes over 17 different steps that one can take in regards to these principles and moving your life to there. So that's at improvementwarriorfitness.com/mitochondriac. And I'm also on all the social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just have to search for me. It's Jason Yun, Y-U-N.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Jason Yon, because if you support him, more and more and more empowering episodes of the podcast itself, more and more empowering coaching to come, and for sure, more and more empowering circadian rhythm to come. So, Mr. Jason, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it.
Bodycam people, see you soon.